Then I need a motion to reconvene as a county board of equalization.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Sherry, call the roll.
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes. All right. Commissioner Aaron's has court. I have court, so we need to keep these a moving. So let's go.
All right, our first appeal is parcel number 280.
You know what, though? I need to do consent agenda. My bad. Can I get a motion
Motion to
on?
approve.
Okay, a second.
Second.
All right, any comment on consent agenda? If not, Sherry?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes. Okay, now we'll move on to item 1.
All righty, our first appeal is parcel number 280 2012 013. It is at 5009 Quail Run Avenue South in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I recently inspected this property with Mr. Shipper himself last week. We reviewed the measurements and also along with that I reviewed the grade of the home and the condition of the home. I did come up with a recommendation and I lowered the overall square footage of the home and the garage. Our recommendation is 261,574. It originally went out at 288,196. We did come up with some comparables for Mr. Shipper here. They're in the range of selling range of 256 to 290. The assessments on these properties are between 228 and 268. We're recommending a per square foot assessed value of $206 on this property. And I think from there we'll let Mr. Shipper give his side of the story.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Dwayne Skipper, Sioux Falls. My appeal is about primarily the overall condition of my 32-year-old home that is original and has no updates such as flooring, cabinets, countertops, appliances, etc. Outside major components such as windows, sidewalk, decks, siding, and shingles all have age issues and will affect the market value regardless of housing demand. A spokesperson for the Realtors Association of the Sioux Empire recently said maintenance and updates still affect the valuation of homes. Per the Bill Zortman radio show, April 2023. I doubt there is a comparable property where all of the faucets, window coverings, light fixtures, ceiling fans, garage door opener have not been replaced. And I'd like to put down this to see how it looks. Okay. The 4-page seller's property condition disclosure statement under South Dakota Codified Law 43-4-38. Final question is, are you aware of any material facts or problems that have not been disclosed on this form? Here are some pictures that help to visualize 32-year-old age concerns. This is a picture of my kitchen. You can see all the appliances are 32 years old. This is the sink, original faucet, original sink. This is kind of hard to see, but the flooring, vinyl flooring in the kitchen is cracked and faded. Here's another one that's a little bit more. I'm first going to show this. This just happens to be all the window coverings in the house are old. This one is a concern, I think, for anyone that it's a concern for myself too. But my copper plumbing has green pinhole corrosion, It's a problem with possibly water chemistry and copper pipe that wasn't up to par 30 years ago. Anyway, I've been keeping my eye on it. This can have fine leaks at any point in time. I thought I'd replace it when I have to replace my water softener, which is also 32 years old. Switching to the outside of the house, this is my front sidewalk. Pretty visual that needs to be replaced. Happens to be that my neighbors have pavers, larger area than this, but I was quoted $3,000 to fix this with pavers, probably at least a couple thousand for concrete. Here's my deck, 32 years old, getting to the point where maybe it is not safe to walk on. And here's my Anderson windows, 32 years old. You can see that they're cracking at the bottom. Half of my windows, which is the west and the north side of the house, have this problem. Another quick look. Same problem, top and bottom. Here's a picture of the inside of my garage, unfinished. I don't know where the valuation comes in on that, but I just don't see any numbers versus finished, unfinished on a garage, but it's unfinished. I gotta find my place here a second. Okay, no pictures here, but forced air furnace, central AC unit, obsolete actually, can't get parts. And they are not ducted into the basement. So the basement is not heated or central air conditioning. Space heaters are needed if I want to use it in the wintertime. The siding on my house. Ethan and I didn't specifically look at this, but there is a class, or was a class action suit on peeling paint. I have some of this on the east side of my garage. It's going to be disclosable, whoever purchases the home, and could be an issue in pricing. What do you do with steel siding? You know, if you replace one part, you got to possibly do the whole thing. The other thing is that my shingles continue to hang in there, but they're 18 years old. Most insurance companies, I just verified this, are unwilling to insure, may look at putting a rider on. I confirmed this with the local lender. He said, that's the same thing, they're gonna have problems. So there's gonna be an adjustment. Whatever the price is upon sale, there's gonna be an adjustment for those shingles.
All right, I'm gonna close testimony, sir. Commissioner, you have any questions?
So Dwayne, you'd sell your house for $198,000.
231,000. I've always maintained there's, you know, there's a
The
40 to
assessor has put
50,000.
your house at $228,321, down from $254, keeping your lot size the same.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's only about a $30,000 difference between what you requested and what the assessor have. So, Madam Chair, I would move that we keep the recommendation of our assessor.
Mr. Schmidt, may I interrupt you, please?
Pardon?
May I interrupt you, please?
Yes.
So I visited this property last Friday with Dwayne, and I wasn't able to get the update in Civ Clerk in time to be posted. So the recommended amount is actually $261,574. It's not what you're looking at. You're looking at $266. It's about $5,000 less.
Okay.
$261,574. The home is $228,204.
Okay. I would move to keep the recommendation of our assessor at the stated that Ethan just stated.
Ethan, can you give me those numbers one more time?
$261,574 and $228,204 for the home. $33,370 for the lot.
We got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion, second, any discussion? If not, Sherry, you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Poppins, Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Next item on our agenda is Dean, Janet, and Sherry. Are they appearing?
No, we do have a recommendation.
Okay, what is it?
The recommendation is to lower the land value to 43,575 and the house value down to $8,028 for a total valuation of 51,603. They're
Second.
in agreement.
Sherry, did you get those numbers?
Sure.
Okay, I've got a motion by Poppins, a second by Schmidt. Sherry, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. Next item.
The next item is parcel number 230.20.02.010. There's also a recommendation on the table that I spoke with the appellant yesterday, and he is in agreement. An assessor went out and did an inspection. The valuation to lower the land to 42,660 and the house value down to 19,682 for a total valuation of 62,342.
Did you get that in writing, or is that just
He-
a phone?
It's my
That
brother.
was a verbal.
Okay, so you're good with going with that? Okay. Can I get a motion, please?
So move.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, Sherry, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. Next item.
Our next appeal is parcel 230.25.00.010, located at 509 West Third Street in Worthing. It's owned by Edwin and Marcia Keltenbach. It is a single-family home built in 1977. It has 1,760 square feet. There is some basement finish of 130 square feet. It does have 2 garages. On page 4, you can see our comps with a side-by-side comparison with the subject property. The comps are good comps. They are older. They are smaller than the subject property, but the homes are not over-assessed to what they're selling for. Our assessor recommendation is to have the land value at $48,439, the house value at $283,489, and the accessory building, the second garage, at $7,119 for a total valuation of $339,047. Excuse me, our subject property falls within the cost and below the market value. You can see where the subject property is located on the map in comparison with the subject properties, or excuse me, the comparable properties. With that, stand by for any questions.
Thank you. Anybody have questions for staff? If not, is the appellant here? Come on up. And just please state your name and address and then go ahead with your testimony.
Marcia Kaltenbach, 509 West Third Street in Worthing.
And if you want to pull that microphone down so we can,
Oh, I'm sorry.
thank you.
Ed Kaltenbach, my wife Marcia here, from 509 West Third Street.
And go ahead with your testimony. What would you like us to know about your property?
Well, first of all, our property is a 3-bedroom. We did not know the comparison of other properties earlier. And so I'm comparing it with property 101 West 4th Street and 400 South Louise, those 2 properties. 101 West 4th Street has a 6-bedroom. Ours has 3. That has a total finished basement. Ours is unfinished, with the exception of that small amount. That has a large Morton building that's finished. It has a large shed. It has a 3-stall garage. We have a 2-stall. So in comparison, ours has original siding. It was built in '76. Ours has original siding. It has the original kitchen cabinets. It has an insert fireplace, not a masonry, like was listed before. So I don't know if there's any other questions. And on Louise, that's a 2,200 square foot house with a finished basement, 2 bedrooms in the basement, and it has newer siding and a new kitchen. And so we feel that the value, we are valued over the price of the street, the 101 West 4th Street house, and it really isn't comparable. It's way under in comparison.
I have a question.
Okay.
Do you have a finished basement or unfinished?
Unfinished.
Okay.
With-
And do the comparisons of the county that they provided, finished or unfinished basements?
I think they have 130 square feet that's finished in the basement. But let me think of her name. April came out and assessed that and said that that was too high for that finished part. She would lower it. She thought that should be lower.
You mean for you all?
Yes.
Okay. And then,
The rest of it's completely unfinished.
Local boards reduced it to 179 a square foot.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Does anybody else have any other questions? Comments? Anything else you'd like us to know?
Well, yes, the comparisons that Beacon made here are very uncomparable houses. For instance, the old Hanson house down there, the stucco house, that was built many, many years ago. And when John bought that house, he was a stucco man. So therefore, he stuccoed the whole thing in that huge garage. I think you could put 6 cars in that, huge balcony and everything, all stuccoed. The value of that land, it's hard to compare 2 houses so opposite. That's a 1-stall garage, I realize, but the buildings are far superior. And the one that we're talking about on 4th Street there, former mayor of Worthing had that. Well, what's his name?
George Zahn.
George Zahn, and Russ has that now. And if you would look at the comparison of the two, those 2 houses, his house and my house, would be quite comparable, and yet the value of his is far under what mine is.
It's not.
Comparing the one on Louise would be very comparable, 2-stall garage, yard size, 2 buildings out behind and this and that. It would be reasonable, I think, if mine was valued somewhere in the neighborhood of 250 to 260 thousand if you want to compare it to like properties, not over in the new section of town. My house was constructed with a 2x4 rather than 2x6 construction. I built it myself in 1976, and the original siding is still on that house, which could stand replacing. I've replaced several of the windows. Some of them, the seal has broken and need to be replaced. I mentioned to April concerning the driveway and so on. She said they don't value the landscaping. When I built my house there in 1976, I put a 4-inch slope on my approach, and it was another about 6-inch slope out to the highway. Since that time, the city of Worthing has put in a new water line, new sewer line, and raised the height of that road by 12 to 14 inches. Therefore, the drainage, instead of running from my house out to the road and on down west toward the ball field there, comes into my driveway. And nothing we can do about it. I mean, that's the road height now. And
Also, ours are gravel roads in Worthing, except for the one on Louise. That's all paved, and again, a highway too.
And I see that. Is there anything else you want us to know real quickly? Trying to keep everybody on schedule today.
No, not unless you have some questions. I
Okay,
guess.
anybody have questions?
Madam Chair, I have a motion.
Oh, go ahead.
I do have one more thing to say.
Okay,
Our taxes went up about, averaged about 100 or 245, I think it is.
$154 a year for the last 6 years.
And this
And
year,
that, I understand, is reasonable. Things go up. But then to jump it from $150 to almost $1,400 in 1 year, I think is very
right, and
risky.
we're not
Okay.
setting your property taxes, we're just figuring out the valuation issue.
okay.
Commissioner Aaron's does have a motion, as I understand it.
Madam Chair, move to value the land at $48,439. Value the structure at $275,000. Value the outbuildings at $7,119.
I'll second the motion.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, Sherry, you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you.
All right, next item on our agenda.
Our next appeal is parcel number 230.31.00.001. It's located at 211 East 4th Street in Worthing. It's owned by Justin Wallenstein. It is a single-family home. It sits on 1 acre, built in 2003. It has 1,473 square feet. Living area in the basement of 320 square feet. This did go to local board, and the local board lowered the home down to $241,000. There was no reason indicated with the lowering of why they lowered the value. The appellant appealed back the local board's decision. Our 3 comp page shows a side-by-side comparison with the subject property and the 3 comparables. You'll notice that all of the comparables are much smaller in up to 500 square feet on the main level, smaller than the subject property. They're good comps. Most of the comparables sit on less than a quarter acre, and our subject property sits on 1 acre. I did look, some of the discussion in the appeal from the appellant is it sits on a gravel road. I do indicate a map of sales that also show properties that have sold on the gravel road. The gravel road has no effect on the assessed value. Actually, our assessed values are much lower than the selling prices of those properties. Our recommendation is to have the land value at $50,103, the structure value at $275,917 for a total valuation of $326,020. You can see on the first map where the subject property is located in blue and where the comparables that we used to show a valuation comparison for the subject property. With that, we'll stand by for questions.
All right, anybody have questions? All right, sir, if you could just state your name and address into the microphone and then go ahead with your testimony.
I'm Justin Wallenstein. I'm at 211 East 4th Street in Worthing. One thing, I did get 2 more pictures. if I wanted to upload those,
There's a camera up above you if you look. If you set those right there, we'll be able to see them.
okay.
There you go.
Okay, this one right here is my place. And like Ed and Marcia, this is what they were comparing to at 101 West 4th Street. And so the story behind me is that I did the official appeal, or started with the appeal at the local level. And the appeal got submitted over here, and we did the land value. And a week prior, I reached out to the city of Worthing to see if there was anything I needed to do, and they said no at that point. And at the local level, I didn't get a chance to discuss my building values. And so they said I have to take it to you guys. So where I'm at today is that I'm trying to I would like to compare my value to Russell's at 101 West 4th, also because of the simple fact that it's out of fairness. He's valued after the local appeal, he was valued at $294.24. And after the local appeal, as she stated, they moved me, but I'm still at $291,103. I'm still higher than him, and I have much less than him. I have a legal shed that is 16 by 8. I have a double stall garage. He has, I'm estimating, a 24 by 50 pole shed that's finished. He also has this oversized shed on his property, which I would say is probably 8 foot by 20. And then this is my structure here on 1 acre of land, showing my house and my shed, immature trees. This is his property here. This is his house, this is the pole barn, and underneath this tree is where his shed is at, and he's on 1 acre of land. Over here, we're 2 blocks apart, and property-wise is the same, I would say, but I just have much less in structures. And if he's gonna be valued at $290, and I'm gonna come in at $291 higher than him, where's the fairness in that?
4th or east?
He has a 6-bedroom home, 2 bath, it's finished up and down. I'm finished half down in the basement, that's been noted. He has mature trees, I have immature trees. It seems like I lose half of them a year. And the other thing was, I was just misinformed by the city of Worthing that I didn't get it, and that I didn't take the opportunity to discuss structures with them. So,
All right, does anybody have questions?
Sir, when did you buy your house?
originally I built it in 2003, but since I've took ownership of it 3 times because of divorces. So
What'd you pay for it originally?
I built it,
built it?
and when I built it, I want to say I bought the property for $20,000, and the build cost on it was $125 for material.
So it's been a while then since.
Correct.
If I may address the board?
Sure.
Okay, so the home he's comparing himself to is 30 years older. It's 300 square feet less. I wanted to bring that to your attention.
Thank you. All right, any discussion or questions from the commission?
I got a question for the county. Do the comps have unfinished or finished basements?
The one that he's referring to that we don't have on our sheet, the 101 West 4th Street, does not have any lower level finish. He has about 320 square feet of lower level finish on record.
What about the comps you used?
The comps, yes. The comps that we have, yes, they do have lower level finish.
Okay.
Anywhere from, I believe, 500 to 700 square feet, depending on which one.
Unfortunately, the comps that we used are split foyers. as well, which is a little bit less desirable than a ranch home. So just keep that in mind too.
And that was one thing I forgot to bring up with my discussion was I was against split fire homes when, yes, you could have used John and Denise's and you could have used George's. There's plenty of ranches in Worthing to compare to.
I think the reason for that was just due to the age of the homes. The comparables used, the split foyers were closer in age.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to close testimony. Any discussion amongst the commission? If not, I'd consider a motion.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to value the land at $50,103. Value the house at $265,000. That's my motion.
Thank you. I've got a motion and a second, or I don't have a second.
Second.
Can I get a second? Thank you. Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, we call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes. All right, thanks for coming in today.
So the official numbers, just real quick, what the official numbers, does that still put me over what Worthing put me at?
That puts you at like 285, well,
315.
315.
315.
So when they go to figure that, will that be at the Worthing level or will that be at the county level?
It'll be at the county level.
So I went up when I have $45,000 less. That's
That's what the motion was, and that motion passed.
so what should I expect?
What we just passed.
So I wasted my time. I should have not said anything or even brought it up to you guys.
You can have that discussion about the process and procedure with the assessor's office. That's not what we're here to discuss today, but, Carla, if he would have just left it at what local boards, he still would have been here, correct, or no?
No, if he would have kept the local board value, it would have stayed at the local board value. He
Okay.
appealed the local board value.
And the only reason
Okay.
I did that is because I was.
Yeah,
at
it's like
more
a
than-
do-over. It's like a do-over, so we're not bound by what they did once you bring the appeal forward to us.
There is another step if you wish to.
I'm not going to go to the state.
Okay, well, we're gonna move on to the next item,
Thank you.
scheduled for 10:40. Were they gonna appear?
There was no RSVP.
Okay.
Our next appeal is parcel number 240.11.02.024. It's located at 530 Penny Street in T. It's owned by Brett and Sarah Waltner. It is a one-story home built in 2012. It has a 2,208 square feet. It does have lower level finish of 1,354 in the basement. Assessment notice went out at 582,216. It was appealed to the local board. Local board made no change. The three comps, side-by-side comparison with the subject property shows good comparison. They're a little bit older, or excuse me, a little bit newer than the subject property, but relatively actually smaller than the subject property. Our home sales range in this area between 450 and 700,000. The recommendation is to leave the land value at 81,131 and the home value at 501,085. The no change as the property assessment falls below the cost and the market. The map shows where the subject property is located in blue and the comparable properties, they're all right within, right across the street or within a block of the subject property. With that, staff will stand by for questions.
Thank you. Does anybody have questions? All right, and is anyone here appearing for Brett and/or Sarah Waltner? All right, if there are no questions, I consider a motion.
Move for approval of the recommendation of our assessor.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, Sherry, we call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. And the next item scheduled for 10:50, were they gonna appear?
10:50. 10:50 by phone.
All right, can we see if we can get them on the phone, Carter? All right, we do.
Yes?
Yes, good afternoon, or morning, it's still morning. The assessor is gonna go ahead and give some testimony, and then you'll be able to provide testimony as well.
Thank you.
Our next parcel or appeal is parcel number 240.22.03.004. It's located at 320 West Maple Street in T. It's owned by Punt Properties LLC and Unicorn Holdings LLC. It's a single-family home built in 2020. It has 1,458 square feet. There's a recommendation. The appraiser reviewed the property, and after the review of the property, the recommendation is to leave the land valued at $27,720 and to lower the house value to $204,560 for a total valuation of $232,280.
All right, anybody have questions for staff? All right, ma'am?
Yes,
Yes, can you just please state your name and address and then go ahead with your testimony about the property?
absolutely. My name is Lorraine Punt, and I live at 3369 360th Street in Hull, Iowa. And that property is a property that my dad had owned and had a dilapidated trailer on it. And we removed that and made it was inhabitable. But we had to do something. So we removed that and we put in a crawl space and placed a decent modular home on that crawl space. But I felt that the valuation that had been increased would be one that would be assessed more to a standard stick-built home. I just didn't feel like the modular piece equated to that. Like, from the finishes on the inside, it just doesn't meet that level. So that's why I was reaching out to appeal the amount that had been applied to that property.
And did you provide a value of what you thought it should be valued at?
I don't know that I did.
Yeah, I don't see one.
No, was
150,000. Sorry. Yeah. I'm joking.
No, I understand, I understand. So we've got the land at 27,720. And we've got
Which I think is still a little high, just because if you look at the shape of that land, that you can't hardly do anything because of the width in the front, the front space, frontage space, whatever. But it is what it is. I've got my dad living now in a safe place, and yeah, that's what this is about.
And then we've got the house at 204,560.
So I paid $160
When was that?
2 years ago,
Okay.
2.5 years ago.
Does anybody have any questions?
Ma'am, if you were gonna put this house up for sale, what would you put as the sale price?
I would say probably, because it's only a single car garage because there wasn't room, probably 225. Yeah.
So you'd put it
I
at
don't want to
two-
run down my property, but the finishes just aren't what.
Yeah, you'd put it at 225, and the county assessor's office it's saying it's at 232, so you're about $7,000 apart.
Is it being rented?
No.
Ma'am,
No.
did you provide any of the hard documents for what you purchased the property for, what you paid for the house
Yeah.
and to have it installed? You actually, I
Yeah.
have not seen those actual numbers. or paperwork? You sent that to the Department of Equalization?
I believe I did, yes.
Okay.
Pretty sure I did. Because I think I scanned it and sent it in. But yeah, we got it from a place, and in fact, I'm sitting here with my dad having coffee right now because it was his 89th birthday yesterday.
Well, happy birthday, or belated birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we did not do a write-up on this because it was
Because they agreed to lower it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because they agreed when they looked at what the situation was. So any help is appreciated. But no, he needed a safe place to live.
So the assessor's office, you did move it down to 232, 280.
Correct.
Madam Chair,
From 265.
Madam Chair, I have a motion.
Yep, go ahead.
Value of the land at $27,720. Value of the house at $204,560.
All right, I've got a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. If there's no discussion, Sherry, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so very much.
We'll move on to our next. It's scheduled for 11 o'clock. Were they going to appear?
They were going to appear in person, yes.
Okay. Are you here for the 11 o'clock, sir? Yes. All right. Do you mind if we get started a little early? Okay. Go ahead, Carla.
Our next appeal is parcel number 240.47.19.004, located at 800 Fox Court in T. It's owned by Ryan and Jennifer Thompson. It's a single-family home built in 2008, has 1,492 square feet, 1,174 square feet of lower-level finish. Our assessment notice went out at $444,039. It was appealed to the local board. Local board made no change. On page 3, you can see a side-by-side comparison of comparables that we chose. They are all in about the same age as the subject property and approximately the same size. The valuation, the sales of those properties ranged between $470,000 and $479,900. So in the general neighborhood, homes are selling between $380,000 to $600,000, depending on if you're in the lake, or not in the lake, but around the lake. Felt like the comps were in the same neighborhood or like neighborhood as the subject property. Our recommendation is to have the land value be at $63,527 and the house value at $380,512. Assessor recommends no change from the current assessment as it falls within the cost and the market. On the map, you can see where the subject property is located in blue. 2 of the comps were in the same neighborhood as the subject property, and the third comp is located in a northern development, but very similar to the subject property's development. With that, we'll stand by for questions.
Thank you. Does anybody have questions? All right, if not, good morning, sir. Go ahead and just state your first and last name and then go ahead with your testimony.
Good morning. Thank you for seeing me today. My name is Ryan Thompson. Again, live at 800 Fox Court in T. And just wanted to discuss some of the, I guess maybe more the rationale behind some of the increase in the valuations. I don't question that last fall I could have gotten what is it currently assessed at. I guess my concern is this really reminds me of 2008 when we had the housing crisis there. Actually, in a unique position, I was both a buyer and a seller during that time. Got to experience both ends of the spectrum on that. We were building another house during that time frame, and going into the sale of the house we were living in, there were houses that would go up for sale and they'd be sold by the following weekend or within 2 weekends. And then we got subject to when the things really took a switch and all of a sudden, boom, there was no one buying. I just feel that some of the valuations we're looking at, yes, based upon last year and especially last fall, we were in a very unique situation where we had still some of the COVID issues going on with supply issues, high prices of building and things like that, and historically low interest rate prices. And I don't think we had to be an economic expert by any stretch of the imagination to realize that interest rates would be increasing with the current economic situation that we're faced in today, which escalated and increased the value of a lot of these homes. I guess the question is, will some of these valuations go down in the future if we see a repeat of what we saw in 2008? Because again, my biggest concern isn't so much to do with the value of my structure. The biggest issue I have is with the value of the land. We're seeing a 44% increase in my lot valuation. And to me, that's a little bit concerning. I did bring some documents if you all would like to see them. Can I hand those out just for your referral?
You sure can.
All right. Good.
Thank you.
And we just need to have an extra copy for the clerk's office, so we have
Thank
one
you,
for
sir.
the record.
So, like I said, the point of this is, I'm not here to beat my hand on the table or anything, just walk through some things. Page 1, that's just really a brief overview of my property in itself, going all the way back to 2012, taking the information off of the county website. And we can see, just walking through history, when you look at total assessed value from 2012 to 2019, roughly a 37% increase. And then in the following year, almost non-existent at less than 1%. Then we had that following jump after 2020, almost 16%. And I believe rationale at that time was, Lincoln County going through a lot of big changes, which we still are. That's just part of Lincoln County's life. The following year, 7%. And then this year, 18%. And then when I really got looking at the numbers, what really jumped out at me again was the land price. I mean, the land value's been fairly stagnant, probably was due for an increase, but I just questioned the 44% increase there. And again, from 2019 to 2023, valuations of an increase of 50% on the land, 47% on the structure, 47% total assessed value in that time frame, just seemed a little bit higher. Now, the second page there, wanted to really compare again. The information provided here is accurate. But just taking a look at my neighborhood, so probably can't zoom out on that photo, but on page 4, I did provide a copy of the Prairie Trails addition and also the Fox Court area. And so my question is, with the 7 lots that we have on the interior of Fox Court versus the exterior of Fox Court, why are we seeing such a difference in land value or land assessments versus the exterior? Because if we break it down a little bit more on the third page, what I really looked at there was, okay, to be fair to everyone, what was the percentage of increase we saw on those interior 7 lots versus the exterior 15 lots? And really what we found was within the interior, average lot pricing now is just under 64,000, 63,500, whereas the exterior lots are 53,298. So my question is it just because of that sliver of water that's in our backyards? Because some of the exterior lots, I mean, we have some that are pushing a half acre that still don't even match my 0.32 acres that I have here. And if the water is the reason for the higher value, I really question that because as you can see, that is just a little sliver of water. I mean, it's classified as retention pond. That's how T gets by with some of the drainage things they need to do, classify things as natural drainage to avoid some other conflicts. But if the valuation is higher because of that little water. That's where I'll have an issue, or I have an issue, because as you can see, the surface, acre size of that versus the lake across the street is nowhere near comparable. I believe that lake across the street is what, 5, 7 acres, Mike, if I'm.
7.
7, yeah. I believe ours is like a, maybe.
Is that a dock?
It is a dock, I mean,
Okay.
yeah. Something for the kids to enjoy when there's actually water in it, but to refer again to last fall, that was not even usable last year, because that little sliver of water is not the same as what's across the road. It is not big enough to catch much wind velocity, to get stirred up. I'm sure you've seen me out there a number of times cleaning that thing out by hand. It is a nuisance, really.
The only advantage, Ryan, is being able to sometimes suck water out for the watering the lawn.
Yeah.
And I will agree with you on that.
Yeah, so if that's the case, I'll hook up to city water if it can take my land value down about 20 grand. But,
All right.
On that side of it though, yeah, I mean, it's stagnant, it gets mossy, it gets weedy, it is work. And then two, when you're looking at the size of my lot versus the size of the exteriors, as you can see here, our lots actually go out to the middle of said water channel as well, so. So we don't have the same amount of usable space. I guess we can question how we define usable there, but in the traditional sense of a yard, it is not the same as any of the exterior lots, so.
All right, I'm gonna close testimony. Commission, discussion, questions?
I have a question for staff.
Go ahead.
Have you placed those properties in that channel at the same valuation as the ones that are on the main lake?
Yes.
Yeah, there needs to be a distinction for the land.
Will you go to camera on that? Just.
Can I get a motion, please?
I would, give me a second here. Should leave the home at the same value and change the land value to 45,146.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, Sherry, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes. Thank you.
To answer a quick question, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
It is a moment in time when these values get set. It is at that time when we were literally peaking. But rest assured that the staff and the commission will be aware if things start to change, and adjustments will be coming, or
Okay.
would be coming, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your time and appreciate your ruling.
Do we have testimony on the 1110? Do we have?
No RSVP.
Excuse me, I need to make a phone call.
I wonder, I know there's no RSVP, but I probably should wait until then to see if they show up.
11:30 does not have an RSVP either.
What I would like to do right now, just while we have a few minutes, Carter, can you call Commissioner Gibbon and see if he can be on the phone for a consolidated board? Or even as early as 1 o'clock, even 1:20 would be great. I have to leave.
Well, if we have other people calling in, then we can't have them both going at the same time unless we drop Gibbon each time.
No, that won't work. Do we have people calling in for those?
Yes. Most of, starting at 12:40, 12:30, most of them are call-ins.
Okay.
And I could call somebody on my cell phone and it would be.
You get the echo though.
Oh, that's true.
We can get Commissioner Gibbon, if I think his doctor was in diagnosis, give him.
Well, that's not my point. We're not gonna have a quorum.
Is
if we don't
Commissioner
get-
Poppins left?
No, but
He's just taking a phone call.
He's just taking a phone call, but Commissioner Aaron's is gonna be leaving, and I'm gonna be leaving.
If we could have a discussion about it, I did visit with counsel, legal counsel,
Okay?
And what would happen is all those appeals where we don't have a quorum would be denied. And therefore, their legal appeal right would go on to Office of Hearing Examiners if they wished.
Okay, so we're,
Try Gibbons first.
I want,
You can't.
can we call? I just want to, if we can keep them going and keep them maybe a little ahead of time. But we're gonna run into those problems when we have no RSVP.
Could we call the 12 o'clock? They were,
It's gonna be kind of hard to bump around since we're, got the agenda in an item and if anybody
Okay.
following along.
Do we have people showing up for consolidated? We would, right? So,
one consolidated,
And
but
I've
there
got two
are some
commissioners.
corrections.
I've got
So
two
we'd need-
commissioners that have to come still, or not commissioners, but
right.
the city and the school board.
Well, let's see if we'll wait for the 11:10 to see if Mr. Hartley shows up, and then we have a little bit of a break.
And Madam Chair and Carla, as I understand it, there's only one consolidated hearing at 1:40, correct?
Correct.
So if that individual, and if this commission wants to wait a few minutes, my hearing's at 1:30. It's a status and it's a scheduling order hearing. So it's gonna take me, unfortunately, I gotta show up in person.
Well, I
because of
know,
the
right.
particular situation, but I am free to jump on the phone if that person wants to wait a few minutes till after like 1:45 or
That
whatever.
person's gonna be by phone.
Okay, well, if you want to daisy chain me in or put me on somebody's cell phone, let's just get it done.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, we'll give it the good old college try. Okay. So we're taking a little bit of a break until 11:10. Consider.
The local board lowered it, but it only brought the value to 314,939.
and what did we set the value at?
But didn't you say 339?
Yours was, you put the house at 275, left the lot value alone, left the outbuilding alone.
330, 558.
I want to be careful, Madam Chair, that we don't take any testimony regarding somebody's financial situation, because then we open the door to future commissions being able to tax millionaires even higher because their financial situation is really super good. So I want to be careful not to use particular financial situations to, because that's like letting the
Right. No,
fox
I
in
don't
the hen
disagree
house.
with that. I don't disagree with that.
I understand that completely. I understand that. But the jump is so extreme and it's still way higher than that other property. We are higher than that other property, and that other property has a lot more than we do,
I had a-
house-wise.
Okay,
lot
just
more.
just a second. Just.
That one did have, I mean, we just had an assessor there in April of 2023, and the assessor's recommendation, they found a lot of things that were, superior to what was there when we were there a few years ago. Like the shed has water in it and it's finished and there's electricity. So the accessory buildings will most likely increase for 2024 after the inspection. So I
Okay,
just
well,
wanted to-
our comparison is to that other property, the other property on 101, because that one has all of that and more. Is a comparison there.
So do you only take issue, you don't take any issue with the value of your outbuildings, do you?
No,
So the only thing you take issue with is the value of the house. So the land and outbuildings, take them off the
Yes.
table.
pretty much, because, yeah, our house is, like I said, we have 3-bedroom and unfinished basement, I'm comparing over there. and we're higher in.
And
I would just, my request right now is if you would just put it back to 304, what the city suggested, and approve. We
Well,
had no
The city-
idea that coming in here was going to raise it.
Well, the city did not value your outbuildings. I don't know if you knew that or not, right? Or did they?
Well, I
because
think
the
they
values are
did.
lumped.
They did.
Yeah, did they do
Yeah.
a lump
They're getting
sum?
owner occupied on the outbuildings, so that's
Yeah.
okay.
It-
Okay,
The
okay.
total value, the total amount was 304 that we had previously agreed to, and then found out that in comparison, it didn't compare, to be fair, with that house. So
Well,
that's
this is
the
what
only,
I'm,
that's the only reason we came
All right.
here. We didn't know it would go up. They didn't tell us that.
this is what I'm trying to figure out, ma'am.
Okay,
You requested a total value of 304,939. You set your land value at the same price as the county. There's no issue there. You took no issue with the other buildings. You listed your structure as 266.5, and that's what you put on your sheet. And then the county put 283. So at the end of the day, there is a 83 minus 66. That basically means you're 13. That means you're what? $83.
24,800,
66.
Here, do you want?
7. I got it, thank you. That means basically there's a $17,000 difference between you and the county. That's pretty close. And what you're saying is you still want
It
to,
is, but I still think, we just think it's too high.
The
Our-
local board did not lower your value to 304. They did not. They only adjusted your structure value of your house. But the total valuation is 314,935 is what the local board lowered it to, not 304.
Okay, well, she,
Okay,
She
I'm gonna
wrote that
stop
down wrong.
everything. This is not regular. We're not gonna get in the habit of doing this.
I understand.
So, commission, does anybody on the commission want to take back up this appeal, and reconsider their, the motion and ruling that was already made? Okay, we're not gonna take it back up, but I'm glad we were able to answer some other questions for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so, number 9, the 1110 did not appear, so go ahead. Do you have a recommendation?
The recommendation is to leave the value at the land 42,500 and the house value 212,222 for a total value of 254,722.
Can I get a motion, please?
so moved.
Second.
Got a motion from Aaron's, a second from Schmidt. Sherry, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. We don't have anything on 1120. Is 1130 call-in?
1130 is no RSB, no response.
What about the 1140?
1140 is appear in person.
All right, well, we'll, I guess, be in recess till 11:30. In the. All right, we are here for our 11:30 hearing. Is there anyone here for the 11:30 hearing? If not, Carla, what is your recommendation?
Our recommendation is to leave the land value at 48,035 and the house value at 225,754 for a total valuation of 273,789.
Thank you. Commissioners, we're back in our meeting. Would you please take your seats? Commissioner Aaron's, can I get a motion?
I'll give you a second.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I make a motion value of land at $48,035. and to value the house at $225,754.
Thank you.
That's a second.
We've got a motion and a second. Sherry, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. How about the 1140?
They are to appear in person.
Okay.
On the next one.
Then we will wait till they get here.
Can we jump them?
They're both in person, the next two.
The next two are both in
Is there anybody
person.
on this, rest of this list that,
Afternoon, I guess. Are you folks okay starting early with your appeal? We've got some blocks of time where people didn't show up.
Sure.
If you're ready, what I'm gonna do is have, our assessor's office start with the 12 o'clock one, and then, we'll take up the 12:10. So, Carla,
And
go.
which property is that one?
The 004A, the 4.5 acres.
Perfect.
Okay, so Carla, go ahead.
Yep. Our next appeal is parcel number 250.40.32.004A. It is 4.5 acres located in the north half, northwest quarter, excluding that part sold in section 32, township 99, range 51, consists of 4.5 acres owned by Kevin and Cindy Enterprises. Our original assessment went out at $167,521. On the second page, you can see where our comparables are of bare land that has sold in Lennox. Our comp one consists of 5.184 acres sold for $196,000. Comp two, comp three, so on and so forth. Our current assessed value per acre of the subject property is $37,227 per acre. Our comparables range between $33,714 and $52,701 per acre. The market is indicating a market range between $18,229 and $51,673 per acre. Our assessor's recommendation is no change. It falls within the cost and the market approaches to value. Comp three, just wanted to just point out for accessibility, there is no access yet. There will be future access on comparable three. You can see the map of the subject property where it's in blue. It is irregular in shape, but there is access to the property and where the other comparables are located within Lennox.
So are you online looking at this?
I'm sorry, what was that, ma'am?
Where are you looking at? I don't see, when you say comparables and all that, I don't have any of that information. But you may be talking to the people that are at your table, maybe?
She's giving testimony right now on how she valued your property.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't see where she has, I didn't get a map. When they sent me my paperwork, I didn't get any maps, but that's okay.
It's all on the commissioner agenda packet just for the meeting, and that's where
Oh,
we
okay.
directed folks to.
Okay, so anything else you want to say, Carla? Okay, anybody have questions for Carla? Any of the commission? All right, if not, ma'am, please just state your name and address and go ahead with your testimony.
Okay, my name is Cindy Kelly, and my husband's Kevin Kelly, and our address that we live at is 909 West 4th Avenue in Lennox, South Dakota. There is no address on the 4.5 acres. There's just a parcel. It's under ag ground, but it doesn't meet the qualification for ag ground for farming it, because we don't charge anything for the guy that cuts it for hay or alfalfa. He just does it to keep the ground down. And just let me know when I can start speaking on my behalf.
Yes, ma'am, this is your time for testimony.
Oh, okay, great. Well, last year, we did sell 4.70 acres, to the city of Lenox, their development corporation, for hold on a minute, honey. They had it out. I don't know.
It was for 225.
Yeah, it was. We sold 9 lots and then 7.1 acres. The 9 lots we sold for 17,500, and the 4.7 acres for 65,000. That's right in Lenox, right on West 4th Avenue. I do have the lawyers. Freenberg Nelson is the one that actually settled it. But when I look online, it looks like when they put it down on your end to look at, it looks like they put 225,000, but it doesn't. They didn't break it down. But we sold it for 17,500 per lot, and then the middle one, 4.7 acres for 65,000, which would have totaled 225,000. And that is in Kelly's edition. I got my potty system to look at it. That is block 4, track 1. And the square footage on that block 4 is 205,011, which equals 4.7 acres. And with that piece of property, it's went up immensely the last couple of years. It's jumped. The first year went from, do you see where that's at, honey? Because I got 2 different properties that we're looking at. It went from, I just went out and drive and got it. Where'd it go? It went from, like, I'm sorry, I'm so unorganized. You caught me just as I walked in the door. Let's see, is this it? It went from like 40,000 up to the 113,000, which was huge increase. And then now this year again, they want to increase it again, and it's just a bare piece of property sitting there that, in alfalfa for farmers. And we don't want to sell it. We want to keep it for our son because he might want to build on it. He's younger. He's not that young. He's 23, but when he's ready. So I'm wondering why they keep raising it so much. And we didn't even sell ours for that much. And we just sold it on let's see. Was it the October 7th on 10/12 of 22?
Not on that date. We sold
That field was 4.70 acres.
All right, on this particular parcel, I'm going to close testimony unless you have something very quickly that you want to say about it.
Just that I think it's way overtaxed. I don't know what we can say about it except for that we sold a piece real comparable for 65,000. What, 6 months ago? So I don't know what else to say. I feel like I just feel like you're gonna. I don't know. Go ahead.
Commission, any questions for anybody?
Good staff. Do you show that sale that she's referring to?
So Ethan pointed it
Must be a
out.
different sale.
Yeah,
They bought these. They're still owners of those. So
Yeah, I'm just curious about a sale that she's referring to.
it's that one right there. You just clicked on.
this one.
That's in the Kelly's edition. On West 4th Avenue, if you go on your plottage and go down West 4th Avenue, there's 9 lots there, plus 4.7 acres. That block 4 is the 4.7 acres that the city of Lenox, the development corporation, bought. And the whole entire thing sold for $225,000. All the 9 lots, plus the 4.7 acres. And how we sold it to them was $17,500 per lot, and the lots were 100 by 100. And the big 4.7 acres was 65,000. If you add that up, that comes to 225,000.
I don't have a, do we have a sale on
It's on the Lincoln County plottage. Can we find that parcel? And I seen it when I looked on your parcel, on your,
that? That's 226,000.
interactive map.
226.
Madam Chair, I have a motion, placing the land at $136,000.
Okay, I will close testimony, and then I do have a motion from Commissioner Poppins. Is there a second?
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, do we call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes, that motion carries. Ma'am, we do have a 12:10 item for you, but there are some people waiting for the earlier ones. You can stay,
Okay.
you can stay on the line if you would like.
Can I ask you what you just did? Does it stay the same or does it go up?
It went to
Went down.
136.
Okay.
136,000. And I
Okay.
made a decision based on that sale that you referred to.
Okay, very good.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take up our 1140 matter. Do we have an appellant here? Are either of you here for the 1140? Okay. Carla, go ahead.
You want to get that? Our next appeal is parcel number 250.33.00.051. It's located at 713 West 4th Street in Lenox. It's owned by Peter and Charlene Vandover.
Right.
The assessment went out at $104,599. We do have a recommendation that did go to local board. Local board lowered it to $60,000. The appellant is appealing the local board's decision. After review of the property by an assessor in the office, we are recommending to lower it to $78,724. That's giving it the excess rate on the property. You do own the adjoining lot, correct? So we gave it the excess rate, and that is the recommendation. You can see where the property is located in blue. The appellant lives right here, and the comparables that we used are in red. With that, we'll stand by for any questions.
Thank you. Anybody have questions? All right. Are you Peter?
Yes.
Okay. Can you just state your first and last name for the record and your address, and then go ahead with what you want us to know about your property?
Pete Vanover, 713 West 4th. I'll get it yet, maybe. Of Lenox. And that piece of property, the kid had it sold fair and square. And
For how much?
there was no price mentioned. Because I had told him I'll give you that 66 feet for the fixing up my street. And when he got done, he looked at it one more time and he backed out and says at $1,000 a running foot, it's worthless to me. And I talked to a realtor and I said, well, can you sell it? He says, I'm afraid not. It's going to be a very, very hard sale with no street. So in my book, it's worthless.
Commissioners have any questions? Is there anything else you want us to know, sir?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Is there anything else you want us to know?
Well, what else is there to say?
I understand. I get it. I
Sir,
just
did-
want to give you the opportunity.
Sir, did you see the recommended value that the department has recommended at this point? Of 78,724, have you seen that number?
Yes,
Are you in agreement to that number, or, which is down from the 104,599?
no, well, all right, we go down the street two blocks from where I live. The town, the great town is the house was worth 20,000. And the lot was worth 40,000. We got a street, we got water and sewer and everything there, and they're living in it.
Which property? Can you be specific as to what property you speak of?
I'm speaking of the Willie Poppinga.
Do you have you said, sir, you didn't have any access to your property? Or do you have access to your
I
property?
got access to
Okay.
my property.
And your local boards valued that at $60,000?
Yes,
Okay.
and they haven't spent one dime on it.
I got a question for staff.
Yes.
What are those what's the land valuation there, the lots right next to him?
Right, just south of,
Yeah, just on the left and right of him.
yes. Oh, the left and right?
The 717 and the
His
615.
neighbors, what's their land valuation?
So to
Per square
the.
foot?
40,000, the city
Per
put
square
it at.
foot?
20,000 for the house, and it's
To the west, $1.75 per square foot.
And what's hit, so buck
$1.25 is our recommendation.
All right.
and they got a double garage on it that is worth re-shingling last summer.
Yeah, we're not speaking of the property as the structure, just what the land value.
Yeah,
is,
I realize that, but it's still sitting there.
Madam Chair?
Okay, I'm gonna close testimony. Can I get a
Madam Chair,
motion, please?
I would have moved to accept the local board's evaluation at $60,000.
Okay, I've got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion. Sherry, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yep.
Commissioner Poppins?
Nope.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes. Motion carries. So it's staying the same as what local boards put it at.
Well, I'll just probably have to forget, I'm on a fixed income and I just get to the point where,
That's at the 78 then.
where I don't know if I can keep everything up.
And unfortunately, that's not something that this board considers. We just place values on properties.
Well, I realize that, but
And so we've given you a considerable break on even what the assessor was recommending.
You what?
We gave you a considerable break on what the assessor was recommending. We adopted local boards. We didn't have to do that.
That's about $20,000 less than what our assessor was.
Let's go.
So,
Well, what's the tax is gonna be on it now?
I do not know.
If you want to call the auditor's office later, I'll give you an estimate on what that will
let's
be.
get back to,
I don't have the information in front of me.
Alrighty then, I'm not very happy with it, doing this worthless to the general public.
Thank you for attending, sir. We're going to move on to our 11:50 hearing. Is there anyone present for the 11:50 hearing?
Yes.
Good
Joel
morning.
Bagman.
Go ahead. I'm going to have the assessor go ahead first, and then I'll have you state your name and address for the record. Go ahead, Carla.
Our next appeal is parcel number 250.70.00.A100. It's located at 412 West Boynton Avenue in Lenox. It consists of 2.65 acres. It's owned by Joel and Diane Begman. It's a one-story home built in 2000. It has 1,501 square feet. The basement finish is 1,255 square feet. Our assessment went out at $424,618. On page 3, you can see side-by-side comparisons with the subject property and the 3 comparables. The comparables I felt were very good comparables. They were either just a couple years older than the subject property or a few years older. They were about the same size, a couple hundred square feet larger than the subject property. The biggest difference on the comparables is the land. The subject property consists of 2.65 acres, and the comparables are a quarter acre to just under 1 acre. The land is receiving a 35% adjustment because of the size and the how the layout is of the land, because of the apex of the property is to the north. So with that, our recommendation by our manual and our costing manual says that we can apply a 35% adjustment to the land when the apex is not on the street. Let's see, the assessor recommends, we do have a recommendation to lower the structure value to 315,315 because of the whirlpool tub, but we are recommending to leave the land value at 93,174. With that, we'll stand by for any questions.
Thank you. Do commissioners have any questions for staff? All right, if not, sir, you can go ahead and state your name and address and go ahead with your testimony.
Joel Begeman, 412 West Boynton, Lennox, South Dakota.
Can you speak into the microphone?
Joel
sir?
Begeman, 412 West Boynton, Lennox, South Dakota.
Thank you. Go ahead with your testimony.
Okay, you're gonna take the whirlpool off and stuff that's in there? And all
That recommendation that we made was based on our conversation, and I did
Right.
remove the whirlpool tub. To my memory, it was around the $4,000 difference between what was sent out at
'Cause
like
that-
424 and
that's
what it
been
is now
gone.
at 419.
So you're in agreement with that recommendation?
Agreement with that. The land value is assessed a little high, I believe, because I would agree with, 70,000 instead of the 90,000 maybe.
Can you tell us why you feel that way?
Because it's a captured area, it has no access to get back there, no street access or anything. Since they put the new development in, that really took the access away to the north, because they kind of moved the creek a little bit there. If you can see on there where. See, now the creek runs there, so you can't really get any access over that way, and it's city land on the other side. And so really there is no street access, no way to get back to it.
Not trying to be argumentative. What we have to do is equalize values.
I
And the
understand
best
that.
way for a appellant is to come in with evidence to show us another property that's assessed, that's, similar to, your size, your shape, those kinds of
Correct.
things. For us to sit here and say, we think this, we think that, it's very hard to,
I understand that,
Okay.
and there's really no, I don't know how you would compare it to anything either, because it's just kind of captured land right back there, and, being in the triangle shape that it is, it makes it even tougher.
I think right now, Carl, it's just getting treated as excess lot land with an additional 30% discount.
35%, yes.
35% discount. Pretty tough for us to kind of come up with any other argument unless we had something in front of us to say, yes, this parcel is different. Because we really don't, as long as it's not over market value, all we're trying to do is equalize it.
I understand that.
I appreciate that.
And I
so-
didn't.
Yep, I appreciate your
expect a
understanding.
lot. I was just. thought
With that, I'm gonna, if your testimony.
Yes, we'll close testimony and then I'd consider
I'd
a
go with
motion.
the new recommendation from the equalization office, removing the whirlpool tub from the structure and leaving the land at the new value, or at that value.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Sherry, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. Thanks for coming in, sir.
Okay, can I still be upset that it's assessed a little high?
Absolutely, and if you got
You
questions, if you like, I'm free to give suggestions on how to come and appeal it. Biggest thing is coming with evidence and finding some property that you feel is similar, that is assessed less than yours, and that's That's the key to it.
I understand that.
I know, but I'm glad to help, so.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
You as well. All right, do we want to,
Back
They
to
still on the
Kevin
phone?
and Cindy.
Kelly's, are you still on the phone?
Yes, we are.
Okay, you ready for the 12:10 hearing then?
Yes.
All right, Carla, go ahead.
Our next appeal is parcel number 250.63.02.001. It's located on West 4th Avenue in Lenox. The legal description is Lot 1, Block 2, Kelly's Addition, and Tract 1. It is owned by Kevin and Cindy Enterprises. It consists of 0.23 acres, so about 10,000 square feet. Our assessment went out at $35,000. You can see on our comparables, we have some comparable lots that have sold in and around Lenox, selling between $25,000 and $53,500 per lot. Our recommendation is no change as the property is within cost and market values. The property is also being assessed like properties. We talked to the appellant. They do not qualify for ag, as she stated earlier. Our map shows where the subject property is located and where the comparables that we used. They are in black bold. Our pricing is right now it'd be $3.50 per square foot, and that's how all the lot values are being assessed. So it's equal. With that, stand by for any questions.
Thank you. Does anybody have questions?
Not for
All
staff.
right.
Okay,
Cindy, just go ahead and say your first and last name and address again, and then go ahead with your
Okay.
testimony.
My name is Cindy Kelly, and my husband Kevin Kelly, and our address is 909 West 4th Avenue in Lenox. That's the same, it's a 100 by 100 lot, so 100 feet by 100 feet. And that is, that's our low lot. It's actually connected to our property that we live on. And the Lenox Development Corporation, I offered that lot to them because they bought the rest of the field. And they were not interested in that one, and I offered that for the $17,500. That's a low lot, so it has to be built up even to be built on. And I just think that it's because I offered it to them when we sold the other piece, and we sold the other 9 lots for $17,500 right next to it. So I would assume, since it's a commercial development, they're pretty knowledgeable on what they think they can get. I would imagine that would be fair to keep it at its previous assessed value.
All right.
And we've got a road project coming through too that's going to cost us immensely because it's on gravel road.
Commissioners
So
have
that's
any
gonna be-
questions? Commissioners don't have any
I have a
questions?
question for staff.
Go ahead.
From her testimony, does she live adjacent to this? So if this was
Yes.
treated as excess of property, what would that value be?
This is just part of our
12,500.
property we live on.
Say, sorry,
12,500.
that would be my motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Sherry, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes.
Commissioner Lindy.
Yes, motion carries. It got lowered to 12.5, ma'am.
Oh, thank you so much.
We treating it as just excess property of your larger parcel.
There you go.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You as well.
Christmas came early.
Yep.
All right, we've got,
Less than what she said it was.
You're a hero.
I am. I kind of try to come up with a logic.
did you get an RSVP from
Yes.
Peterson Properties?
Yes, they will be appearing in person.
I
You,
know.
are you good going early?
In my old age.
All right. Go ahead, Carla.
Our next appeal is parcel number 260.50.32.007. It is located in Beersford. The legal description is Tract 1, Granberg's tract, and the west 30 feet of vacated North Ash Street lying north of the east north. And it is in the lands subdivision in Beersford. It consists of 0.814 acres. It's owned by Peterson Properties LLC. The current assessment went out, it's $25,753. This was heard on the local level. We did make a recommendation to change the assessment at the local level, and that change was to increase the property. We did, after the appellant brought the appeal to the board and we were notified of the appeal, we noticed that the size of the lot was not 9,905. It would have been 35,475 square feet. So our recommendation was to increase it at the local level. The appellant appeared before the board. The board did hear the appeal, and the change by the board, do you have that? I don't have that right in front of me, and I apologize for that, but they did lower the value and they removed the structure value. The structures consisted of a foundation. There was a duplex that was in the process of being built. They actually raised it. They raised it to $26,000, but they removed the structure value. So our assessor recommendation is to increase the lot to $37,069 and to add back in the structure value, which is the foundation for the duplex, at $37,264 for a total valuation of $74,333.
Thank you. Does anybody have questions for staff? All right, if not, sir, go ahead and state your first and last name and go ahead with your testimony.
Chris Peterson. So this one's kind of a little unorthodox, and I think I visited with, not a lot of you, I visited with Jim a little bit, Gibbon. This property is currently under a lawsuit against some neighbors in the city, and it's been going on for 2 years. They're challenging the city's decision that they gave me a conditional use permit to build twin homes. They're challenging the decision of how the city vacated the alley. They're also challenging the decision of giving me the building permit. We had to build, it's a mess. I see the look on your face, Miss Landine. And so.
Sounds like a mess.
I'm really caught between a rock and a hard place. I asked the city of Beersford, all the members that were present on the tax meeting or the assessment meeting, would any of you guys feel comfortable purchasing the land for what it's assessed for? Because I'm not against paying a fair market value for an assessment of the land. I understand people have to pay taxes for streets, roads, schools. I'm not against any of that. But when the city can't step up and put that next foot forward to make something happen, none of them said they would buy it. So that's why I was told to come here. I visited with Carla and what was your name? Ethan, yeah. And I'm like, I'm just pulling my hair out over this deal because I sat down with Tom Freeberg and I said, what would be the fairest thing to do? I said, my idea is freeze my taxes until you guys can figure something out. Because how is the city supposed to benefit on tax value if they can't defend their decision of giving me a building permit or a conditional use permit?
So you can't move anywhere? You can't do anything?
I can't even sell it.
You can't sell it? You
Here's
can't build
the
on
big
it?
kicker.
Huh?
I can't even backfill the foundations, which is a safety item. I own the 8-plex just down on the corner, and there's kids all the time that live there that are going down and playing on these foundations. Take pictures, tell the city, well, you can't backfill it. I have a stop work notice and I don't know what they call it, a cease and desist.
So you're held liable on that regard too?
My understanding.
What are you asking it be valued at?
0 on everything until the city can defend their decision. So it's a sticky one. I mean,
I'm not an attorney, or Chairman Landine, but I don't know that we get into the civil matters of cases. What we have is a land, and we have a structure on it. It sits as it is, and I think the rest of it is up for the civil side to figure it out. And I think becomes part of the civil case. So if we gotta treat this as fair as anybody, unless someone has put it on the market and it's sold for $1, I can't put a zero value on it in my mind, but.
so I have a thought, and just hear me out on it.
Yep, this is definitely unique.
If it has to go back to the way that it was, so the city says, no, we didn't do X correctly, the foundations have to be torn out. So now it's just a bare piece of land again. Would it be a fair assessment if they can't zero everything out, and like you said, it's a piece of land? Could they assess it on the taxes of when I purchased it in 2019?
Well, I think we have the ability to set a value on
And
it.
Carl, I don't even know.
It's just a
what-
matter of what we're gonna base that decision on, so.
I mean, I would at
Something
least,
to be fair, and
I'm
it's like,
about ready to give it for $1.
Yeah,
This is the 2019 value that it will, right here.
you had a valid building permit.
valid building permit, valid conditional use permit.
It has its value. I think that goes back into his civil case,
then they
but it's,
redacted everything when they got sued by and I don't know the legal side
yeah,
of things.
And it has no value now, but he can't do anything.
well, where I'm at right now is I can see just giving him the lot value and ditching the, foundation that's sitting there.
I think there's some logic in that.
Could they reflect the 2019 value? Because
What was the 2019 value?
Well, we just revalued Bearsford, so the 2019 is pre-reappraisal. I mean, it's a very, very low
If
value
you're ready for a
of
motion.
$2,830 for the lot.
219 and accept it.
Okay, everybody's talking at
Yep.
once. I'm gonna close testimony, consider a motion if somebody has one.
I have a motion, Madam Chair, if you're willing to accept it, of leaving the land value of 37,069, removing the structure, so the total would be the 37,069.
Okay, do I have a second for that? All right, I don't have a second. Consider another motion.
I'm gonna make a motion that we accept, or we put it at the value of when he purchased it, whatever that was, for, how much money was that originally in 219?
He just showed us it was 7 something.
7,000, whatever the original price was.
He paid 13 for it, and we had it valued at 2,830.
Paid 13,000 for it, that's my recommendation.
You know, she's gonna get mad at us.
Do I have a second?
So, just second.
Okay, that one fails for a second.
Madam Chair.
Let's
what would
try
you
again,
like?
gentlemen. Whatever you two can agree on. That's what I like. Let's hear some talk.
Madam Chair, I'd offer a motion to place the land value at 25,000.
Second.
Got a motion and a second?
And
Any-
removing the structure. Sorry.
And removing the
Moving the
structure.
Yes.
Any further discussion? All right, Sherry, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Poppins,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. Thank you for that.
Please keep us informed how that case goes.
We'll take up that next one here real quick too,
Okay.
if you don't mind, if you're
Our next
ready.
parcel is parcel number 260.50.32.012. It is Westling's Tract 1 and the east 30 feet of vacated North Ash Street, lying north and east of North Maple Street in the southeast quarter. This is lands in Bearsford. It consists of 1.06 acres. It's owned by Peterson Properties LLC. Very similar to the last, we sent out the assessment notice at $75,529 with structure values of $37,264. When the appeal came in, it was re-reviewed by an appraiser, and we recommended to the local board to correct the lot size. We previously had it being assessed at 40,258 square feet, but it should have been 46,062 square feet. So we recommended that change, and then the local board lowered it to what is it? The 56,897. And the appellant appealed back the local board's decision, and our recommendation is still at the valuation, the land value 39,716, and the structure value at 37,264.
All right.
You're gonna hear a lot of the same debate between
Yeah.
us. Is there
I hear
anything
you.
different?
Is this the
It's
same situation?
Same exact situation.
Okay.
Because this is all in the same parcel.
All right.
I feel, I can't imagine, you've got a lot better attitude about it than I would at this point.
You know, and it was brought up, well, you know, get an attorney and sue the city, and it's like, I'm not against that. I don't want to cost the taxpayers more money. I want to stand with the city because I want to see it grow. And how, it'd be a black eye on me if I went and, I'm frustrated.
At a minimum, I hope you can recoup your structure costs that you have into it and move on.
I'm open for any sidebar discussion.
Anyway, with that, I offer a motion again of 25,000 removing the structure.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Sherry, we call the roll?
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes.
Okay.
It's something.
Now, I've never done this before,
I
but
feel your
is-
pain. That
Oh,
just
yeah.
doesn't sound like fun.
So are they gonna send a new assessment out so I can pay the tax in, or how does that?
I'll
Carla?
send you out a PT 17 with the values on it. Me.
PT 17 is a form. You'll get a form with the values on it.
There is another process which will be explained in that too, that you can appeal it if you want to the state, but
You pay taxes on this next year.
yeah.
The value they just set, okay.
The value, that my tax bill that I got sent out, still pay
Yes,
this, because
yes.
that's
Yeah,
arrears.
that's from
Yes.
last year's assessment.
All right, because I didn't mail that off, because I didn't know kind of where it was at, but,
No, that's always a year behind.
okay.
All right, just for clarification, do we have an RSVP on the 12:30?
On the
Tell
phone.
me that, excuse me, just the two properties, hopefully, that this affected you on.
Well, I tried to build 3 twin homes, right?
Yeah,
And we poured 2 foundations.
The 12:30 is on the phone, and then you want to take a break?
good luck.
Okay.
Let's talk.
Yeah,
Thanks, everyone.
thanks.
We have somebody on the phone? Hello? You have somebody on the phone?
Yep.
All right, the assessor's gonna go ahead with, the appeal. It's set for 12:30, but you're ready to go?
I'm ready to go if they are.
Yep, okay, well, we'll go ahead and start. After she's done presenting the county's position, then we'll take up your testimony.
Thank you.
Our next appeal is parcel number 270.25.07.009. It's located at 404 Prairie Street in Harrisburg. It's owned by Joseph Shuck. It is a single-family home, 1.5 story, built in 1900. It has approximately 1,503 square feet. The assessment notice went out at 200,661. The appellant appealed his value to the local board. The local board made no change. On page 3, you can see a side-by-side comparison of the subject property and the 3 comparables. Just wanted to note to commission that comp 1, there were no remodel permits on comps 1 or 2. Comp 3 did have some permits, and we have it in a very good condition. Some of the argument with the appellant is we have the property in excellent condition for its age because of the addition that has been put on the home along with the updates. And you'll see that in the subject property condition statement. We are recommending to leave the land value at 27,900 and the structure value 172,761. The assessor recommends no change as the property assessment is within the cost and market value, even in excellent condition. The appellant is correct that he has not made any major repairs to the property. However, the previous homeowner did. The property has had 2 additions, one in 2000 and again in 2011. These with the original structure rehab during these additions have put the main area in excellent conditions for its age. The additions are conditioned as normal because they are normal for the year it was built. You can see where the map of the subject property is located in blue and the 3 comparables in red, all within a few blocks of the subject property. With that, we'll stand by for any questions.
All right. Are you the person on the phone?
Yep, I am the person. on the
Okay.
phone.
Can you just state your name and address and then go ahead and tell us what you'd like us to know about your property?
Certainly. My name is Joseph Shook, and I live at 404 Prairie Street, Harrisburg, South Dakota. The things I would like you to know about my property, I don't know if you guys got the pictures that I sent in yesterday. Did you get those?
I am showing those pictures as you speak.
Perfect. As you can see in those pictures, and there's one even short video, but I doubt you'll be able to display that. In the video, you can see I put a water bottle on the floor, and without any prompt, it rolls away from me. My floors are sagging in my living room. And then I included a couple other pictures of cracks and corners and uneven flooring and cracks where walls meet the ceiling and things like that. And I do believe those issues warrant a home built in 1900 to be in a normal condition. I know it says, during the additions, one in 2000 and one in 2011, and it mentioned something about an original structure rehab. I'm not sure that an original structure rehab was actually complied with, given that even in the new addition and the original structure of the home, that's where these cracks are present.
Sir, may I interrupt? I'm just curious if those cracks and items showed up since you purchased the property?
They have.
Since? Yep, okay.
And
Yeah,
staff
since I
question,
purchased-
have we been in the home?
So I'm just looking at notes and we were in it in 2021.
Anything
In
else you'd like us
2020.
to know today, sir?
I don't think so. I don't know if you guys were in the home in 2021. I believe it might have been 2020 is the last time I had anybody. That's when we did our home inspection prior to closing on the property.
Madam Chair, I have a question for Joseph.
Go ahead.
Joseph, you have your land at 27.9, you have your structure at 164,250, and you have your total value at 182,150. Is that correct?
That sounds correct, yes.
And what we see here is that the assessor keeps the land at 27,000. The only major difference is in the house value. But on the overall value, we have it at 200,661, which is about $12,000 separating the two of us.
It's about
Which is-
18,000.
Okay.
Can I get a motion, please?
I would like to clarify, we were not in the home in 2021. That was just a discovery from the listing
Thank you.
that the remodel had taken place.
do, Commissioner Poppins?
Madam Chair, I have a motion to leave the land at 27,900, reducing the structure to 163, for a total of 170,900.
Thank you for that. Do I have a second?
You want to give those numbers again, Commissioner Poppins?
163 on the house and 27,900 on on the land.
Which is a total of?
Forgive me, 3, 6.
It's about 10 grand.
8, 9, 190, 190.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Sherry, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Poppins,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. IT is requesting that I take a break here. So is the 1240 going to appear in person?
No RSVP.
No
Let's
RSVP
take
on
care
that
of him.
one?
Let's,
We can't. So I'm going to take a break and we're going to try and get this figured out so we can have multiple people on the phone.
okay.
So we have a hearing scheduled for 12:40 for a Donald and Amy Burns. There was no RSVP or there was for that
No
one?
RSVP.
All right.
Anybody calling, anybody?
It is 12:40. There's not anybody here. What is the county's recommendation?
The assessor recommendation is no change. The assessment is below cost and market value, leaving the land value at 63,681 and the house valued at 285,648 for a total valuation of $349,329.
Thank you. Can I get a motion, please?
Second, to keep the assessor's recommendation.
Motion and a second. Sherry, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. And then did we have an RSVP for the 1250?
That will be on the phone.
Okay. And
Let me see if we can get
do we have somebody on the phone? Hello? Do we have somebody on the phone?
Mr. Cost?
Yes, this is Gerald.
Thank you. The assessor, are you ready to go? I know you're not scheduled till 12:50, but do you mind if we start early?
No problem, that's fine.
Okay, the assessor will go ahead and give her report, and then you'll have an opportunity to testify.
Our next appeal is...
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. Our next appeal is parcel number 280.33.02.A302. It's located at 6106 South Avalon. It's Unit A302. It is a condo, Copperleaf condo. It is owned by Gerald and Sharon Cost. It was built in 2003. It has 1,614 square feet. Our current assessed value is $287,979. On page 3, you can see a side-by-side comparison with the subject property and the 3 comparables. I would like the commission and the appellant to note that comp 3 is not in the same condo complex as the subject property. The 3 comparables are older comps, so they're older sales, but they are assessed equally. When we don't have good comps of properties, we rely on the cost approach to value. All of the comparables are being assessed equitably compared with the subject property. Using the comparable unit across the hall, that's the appellant's argument, but we are recommending no change. The comparable 1 and 2 are condos in the Copperleaf condo development are identical to the appellant. So if we did decide to lower the subject property, it would therefore cause an inequity within the units themselves. Therefore, the assessor is recommending no change to the current assessed value.
Does staff have, or, excuse me, does the board have any questions for staff? If not, sir, on the phone?
Yeah.
Yep, go ahead and state your
Yes,
phone.
I am. Yes.
Please state your full name and your address.
Okay, Gerald L. Cost at 6106 South Avalon Avenue, Unit 302, Sioux Falls, 57108.
Thank you. Go ahead with your testimony.
Okay. When we got this property value, it came in at around 200 and, or we were assessed at 288,000. That's an increase of roughly 64,000 from last year's value. And what I did, I started looking at, and I'm very familiar with the one across the hallway, which is Unit 301. Same square footage, same layout. The people that bought that, they purchased it approximately 5 years ago, and they did a ton of renovations there. I believe it was over $100,000 worth of renovations that they did to that unit. I mean, they took out carpet and you name it, ceiling they redone and things like that. And what I checked was approximately 14,000 less than ours. And we have virtually, we've been here 10 years. We've done no updates or improvements. We have, maintained it. We've had carpet cleaned and so on. It's the original carpet from 20 years ago and so forth. We do keep it up, but we have done no changes to it. And yet theirs comes in at 14,000 less, which doesn't make sense. And when I looked at state law, they said it allows appeals on recent sales, which really there have been none in our building, or similar property. Well, like I said, I'm very familiar with their property. I shoveled their snow off the deck all winter, and I think this is it's not fair. It's not right. And that's what I'm basing this on. And the other side note to this is I had the realtor that sold us this unit 10 years ago. I had him look at it, and, the max that he would list it for today would be about 270,000. And he said that'd be the absolute max. I could have done a certified appraisal, but I don't care to spend $700 for that. And so that's for my reason for this appeal. Basically, I'm looking at, if anything, believe our unit should not be more than theirs. If they make it the same, fine, but it should not be more. And that would make it a 50,000 increase instead of a 64,000 increase. And I'm just looking at, basically state law allows you similar property, same square footage, same layout, the same everything. Various units in our building, there's 2 of them that are in the 2000s. There's some of them that are 1684, I believe it is. I'm not, really familiar with a lot of that, and ours is one of, our 2 are one of the smaller ones in here, along with, there are probably some other ones, more than likely. So that's where I'm standing with this today. I'm not looking at taking this way down at, it was 224 last year, but I am looking at, fairness and all fairness here. This is not, fair, and I'll gladly accept a 50,000 increase, but 64, you're getting right up there with over the value of what, my realtor would appraise it at, or listed it for, actually, because he was going to list it. But so that's where I'm at with this. Goes back to the board. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you and using the phone. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Cost. Does anybody have questions for the appellant? If nobody has any questions for the appellant, is there a motion?
Just want to confirm that the adjacent property, the land is at 19,750 and the structure is 254,892. That would be my motion to put it at that value.
All right, I've got a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Can you give me the numbers one more time, please? Sorry.
19,750, 254,892 on the structure.
Okay.
Got a motion and a second. Sherry, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you for attending today, sir.
Matched your neighbor's property.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You guys have a good day.
You
You
too,
too.
thank you.
Yes, bye.
Bye. Item 21 on our county board agenda, are they on the phone? Do we have them?
She wanted me to come out and do an inspection. She called at 4:45 last night. I have time.
Sorry.
Scheduled it for Friday.
All right, well, let's see if we can get them on the phone.
What are you doing at 6 o'clock? Reasonableness is not part of the rationale.
Well, I mean, yeah, she admitted on the voicemail that, that she probably should have called sooner.
Really?
I just told her, well, the inspection will be for your 2024 assessment. Or reflect that.
Ma'am, what time is your hearing scheduled for?
1:10.
Okay, thank you. Mhm.
You're doing well, Madam Chair.
Thanks. Good afternoon, we have somebody on the phone?
Yes. Paula Deinert.
Hi, Ms. Deinert. If you can maybe speak a little louder, but we're gonna have the assessor, go ahead with her presentation, and then you'll have an opportunity to testify.
Okay.
Our next appeal is parcel number 281.07.04.051. It's located at 905 West Eagle Ridge Street in Sioux Falls. It's owned by Paula Diner. It's a split foyer home built in 2010. Has approximately 1,496 square feet on main level. The basement has 1,325 square feet of lower level finish. The assessment notice went out at $430,994. The appellant appealed the value to the local board. The local board made no change. On page 3, you can see the subject property with side-by-side comparison with our 3 comparables. I would like to note that comp 1 and comp 3 are one-story homes. Comp 2 is also a split level like the subject properties. They're good comps. They're smaller, they're older, and most of them only have half the lower level finish as the subject property and a smaller garage. Those selling prices are anywhere between $475,000, $490,000 for the sale prices. Our square foot price for the subject property is $288 per square foot. Our cost comparison on the 3 comparables are between $292 and $296 per square foot. The market is indicating a market range between $315 and $375 a square foot. So the subject property is on the lower end of both the cost and the market approaches to value. On our map, you can see where the subject property is located in blue and the 3 comparables in red. They're all within the same neighborhood as the subject property. Assessor's recommendation is no change as the property falls below the cost and the market approaches to value, leaving the land value at $50,785 and the house value at $380,209 for a total assessed value of $430,994. Staff will stand by for questions.
Does the board have any questions for staff? If not, do you have a question, Commissioner?
Yeah, I just wanted to validate publicly, you did try to contact them by card and by. Be careful how I breathe. You did try to contact them by card and by phone and received no response either time.
Yeah, Paul, I apologize. When I spoke with you this morning, I wasn't aware that another assessor had tried to contact you. It looks like here on, it was made by an assessor on April 4th by phone to try to set up an appointment with you. At that time, your voicemail was full. This morning, we did set up an inspection for Friday.
All right, thank
Oh,
you.
I did
Ms.
not know
Diner,
that.
Ms. Diner, you can go ahead with your testimony.
Okay, I guess I was unaware of that. Someone had tried to contact me. I wish I had known that. Yeah, we probably wouldn't be here now if I had known that. Okay, so kind of how I talked about before, I guess I had presented more about everybody that's around me, what they're assessed at versus what is selling out there. So that's what I couldn't understand. Why all of my neighbors are assessed so much lower than me.
Ma'am, can you give
and
a
we had-
specific property, please? Like, can address or
I can
something
give
so
you-
we could refer to it?
Like even okay, so where am I? I'm at like 901 Eagle Ridge. 1001 especially Eagle Ridge. I mean that one's already gone through a sale. They've made improvements to it since they purchased it. I mean, I've done absolutely nothing. And I talked about 2 years ago when I appealed this for the first time. You know, mine is a builder grade home. It's already starting to fall apart. I brought pictures and showed, you know, all of everything that needs to be repaired, which they'll be able to see all of that now on Friday, but it's kind of after the fact at this point. I believe those were $392 and $999 on the one, and $377, $391 on the 1001 Eagle Ridge. And then the one at 1004 Eagle Ridge, that one was the one that really threw me. That one was built 4 years before mine. They paid $30,000 more when they built it. So I know it was obviously a better home than mine. I mean, that can't be much lower in grade than mine. And I'm already 40,000 more, assessed 40,000 more than they are. So there's like a turnaround of $70,000.
Commission, I did pull up 1001 Eagle Ridge court, and the appellant has 1,496 square feet. That particular property that she's comparing it to has 1,350 square feet. The lower level is 1,325 on the subject and 1,107 on the comparable that she's using. The square footage of the garage is 921 versus 744. The comparable that she has is built in 2007. The subject property is built in 2010. So there are many components that make up, the difference.
What is the value on that property?
Which, are you talking about the one on Eagle Ridge?
Yeah, there's a question for staff. They're giving this Commissioner Poppins asking a question to staff.
377,391.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm sorry. Okay, so were those I'm sorry, the measurements of the house that you were giving for that?
Those were the sizes, square footage size of the different components of your home in 1001 West Eagle Ridge Court, the comp that you had stated.
And I'm sorry, I wasn't ready for that, I guess.
All All right, any other questions or discussion? If not, does somebody have a motion?
No, I asked,
Go ahead.
what their square footage was, because I wasn't ready for that, to see how much you were,
Yeah,
me to
we can
repeat
repeat
what
that.
you were,
Okay, so I'll just
or
start
the
with this.
1,000,
Yep, the square footage
or the
of
1,000 for Eagle Ridge.
Ms. Golson has the floor.
1,350 square feet on the main level, 1,107 on the basement square footage, and the garage square footage of 744. And the age was 2007.
Okay, so they have 1,350 in their main, I have 1,508. Is that correct?
We have you with 1,496 square feet.
96, okay.
And
then on
1325 in the
bottom, they-
basement.
1325 in the basement?
Correct.
That, I wonder, is where some of it's, because mine shows 1173 on the basement.
When you refer to yours, what is that yours? What's the document and that you're referring to?
The purchase agreement that I signed and my floor plan. Tell me that number again that you're quoting.
1325.
13. Okay. Mine shows 1173.
Question for staff, Madam Chair, and then I'll have a motion.
Go ahead.
Does it show that we've ever been in the home?
Back in 2010. So during the reappraisal, we left a door hanger and we were not contacted by the homeowner.
2010.
2010 was the last time there was a physical inspection. We showed 2 bedrooms, a family room, and a bathroom.
Was that during the building process? It had to have been because it wasn't.
Just the mechanical room is the unfinished and underneath the stairway.
All right,
Right,
I'm
but
gonna
that was-
close, I'm gonna close
When you-
testimony on this item. Does the board have any questions for the appellant? Okay, if there are no further questions, I consider a motion.
Madam Chair, I'm going to move that we stay with the assessor's recommendation
Okay, we
of
had,
$50,785 and $380,209 for a $430,994.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. If there's no discussion, Sherry, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Poppins,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yep.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you for appearing today, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, we have our 110. Do you want to start a little early?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Our next appeal is parcel number 281.77.01.006A. It's located at 7604 South Ridgestone Drive in Sioux Falls. It's owned by Tamara Vick and Lisa K. Vick. It is a single-family home built in 2006. It has 4,957 square feet. The basement area has 4,211 square feet of finish area. There is a second garage of 1,942 square feet that was built in 2016. The original structure was built again in 2006. It does host a swimming pool, tennis court, outdoor entertainment area. Our current assessed value went out at $2,735,696. We do have 3 comparables that are different than the subject property, but they are $1 million homes that sold. One of the comparables sold just it's just a few blocks just south of the subject property. Comp 1 does not have a pool. Comp 1 does have a pool. It sold for $1,995,000. Comp 2 sold for $2,500,000, and that was the property just south of the subject property. There is no pool. Comp 3 also does not have a pool. It sold for $1,950,000. Our recommendation is no change to the assessed value, leaving the land value at $443,114 and the house value, or all the structure values, $2,292,582 for a total assessed value of $2,735,696. You can see on the map where the subject property is located and where the comparable properties are. Comps 1 and 2 are also located in the city limits of Sioux Falls, and comp 3 is actually outside city limits. Our biggest comparables, we're trying to find properties that fit the criteria of the subject property, not only on size and age, but also the size of the lot. The lot sits on 2 acres within city limits, so we're looking for a 2-acre parcel. With that, staff will stand by for any questions.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions for staff? All right, Ms. Vick, do you want to come on up? And just state your name and then go ahead with your testimony.
Tamara Veek, thank you. So I am here today because my house is, the assessed value is going up by $715,000 from last year. I was thinking about that. I don't know if because you guys deal with commercial properties that number doesn't shock you, but to me, that's an astronomically big jump, $715,000. And one way to, the 2 streets that flank my house, Kenton Lane and Sudbury, there isn't another home on either of those streets that's even assessed at the value of $715,000. There are a couple houses on those streets that are a little bit over $600,000. And so that's my main reason for being here. I submitted a calculation of my own, which I'll go over if you want me to, but the other 2 points I want to quick make. When I was looking around at the values again this year, when mine came back at such a high increase, I noticed that it's mainly a percentage that all the streets go up. Those 2 streets that I mentioned, each of those homes went up by 11% approximately. And then on my street, Ridgestone, the average increase was 14.5%. You know, it's all the same on an entire street, even though we talk about having these specific comps that they're comparing your home to. And then the other point I want to make, you know, the house that sold for $2.5 million that my house is being compared to, their assessed value is $1.1 million, despite it selling for $2.5 million last summer. There's still a whole big thing that I don't get with this whole process, despite having been here before, but I found a home in my neighborhood on Brent Ridge that was built the same year as mine. It's a very big lot. It's a 2-story home. It has the same number of bedrooms. And I'm not trying to get out of any increase, but that was the increase I submitted. Their land went up by 10% and the structure of their home went up by 15.5, and that's what I did. And I proposed 2.315. I think that's all the points I was going to make.
If I could address on comp 2, comp 2 is actually going through some renovation. So that valuation is an incomplete renovation value. That's why the value is less than what they sold it for. That when we were there in 2022, it was completely under renovation.
Well,
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I
Go
may
ahead.
ask the
Yep.
appellant, you referenced a home that you had found. And what is the address or parcel?
2504 West Brent Ridge Circle.
If staff could look that up just for me and give me a
Sorry,
square.
what was the address?
2504 West Brentwood.
Brent Ridge.
Brent Ridge.
You know, to clarify the reason why that home only went up 15% or 14.5, is that what your analysis came to for the Brent Ridge
Staff,
property?
please. I'm only curious what it's assessed. I'm not interested in what it went up, so.
Gotcha.
So,
So here's the valuation.
I'm just curious if it's comparable. Is it something we should look at? Not in the increase, just its square footage, the year built. She indicated it's built the same year. Is it the same quality? Is it the same, type of neighborhood?
Oh, let's see.
Ma'am, what I look at personally is I appreciate people they bring in, preferably have the evidence in front of us so we can look at it quickly to compare. Because our job here is strictly to equalize values. I'm not interested in how much one home went up versus another. That isn't material to what my decision is, and hopefully what the board's decision is. It's just to make sure that we're equalized to similar properties. So if your evidence of this home is comparable and it's a different assessed at a different property, I'm gonna be sympathetic to your appeal. But if it's not, I'm gonna have to trust my Department of Equalization's information, so.
I mean, there are just differences. I mean, in
Would you
the
use
square
this-
footage of the basement area is half. The bathroom is, we're talking 8 bedrooms.
Carla,
Yeah.
you've been to my house. It only has 7 bedrooms. I
Yeah,
still
we're
can't
only gonna
believe
this
how many
isn't,
times.
this isn't a dialogue between the county office and
Excuse me,
and
7
you
bedrooms.
testifying, so just,
7 bathrooms.
I
mean,
I have
Is it, so number of bathrooms, square footage, size of the garage, size of the lot, is there anything that's similar to it? I'm not using it.
The
just-
age.
the
Here's-
age, that's the only thing. I just don't find that a viable.
Here's where I'm at. We had an appeal on this property last year, if I'm not mistaken.
2 years ago, it was held for 2 years.
And it was held for 2 years. So part of the reason that's such a big jump is we have kept it even twice now. And so now you got reassessed again. At some point, that's just gonna happen, because we've went down on our value. But each year is a new year. So that's really where you're seeing that huge jump at, okay? But where I'm at, on this, and I didn't split out the total, I know it's a big jump, so I get what you're saying. I'd be okay with leaving the land the way it is. But I didn't do the math on it to see what the land would be, or the structure would be. So for a total, I'm at 2.378, 124.
Madam Chair, not to be argumentative, but unfortunately, I didn't see any evidence to make an adjustment. We heard just that the valuation jumped. We looked at a property that was represented by the applicant. Unfortunately, that does, in my mind, not a valid property to use as a comparison. I'm going to present a motion to stay with the assessor's recommendation of 443,114 on the land and 2,292,582 on the structure.
All right, I've got a motion. Do I have a second?
Before I second it, can I ask a question for your sum that you had, Madam Chair?
You can.
Your sums were what, again?
I just had a total, if we leave the land where it is, whatever the difference, to get to .378124. That's something I could live with, but you're gonna have this issue every year probably with, if the market keeps growing the way that it is. So at some point, you're gonna have to take that hit. Is the point I'm trying to make.
So.
So maybe that's this year, maybe it's not, but.
Maybe it's next year. Isn't it gonna go down? I mean, it's going to reflect the market. So you can pay me now or pay me later, so to speak.
My point, if I reiterate, there
Go
just
ahead.
wasn't any evidence that was presented for me to make a decision other than to stay with what the assessor's recommendation is, so.
Commissioner Pappas, I can't second your motion. But Chairman Landine, is there a motion, if you need a motion from me, I would second, or propose your motion for a total sum of $2,378,000 and change.
And I can inform you that will.
So the house then would be at $1,935,010.
Correct. But that's not my motion. Is that your motion,
That's my
Commissioner?
motion.
Is there a second? Okay, we don't have a second, so that fails for a second. Can I get a new motion?
To hopefully expedite, I have a total of $2,578,124, leaving the land at the 443,114, which I do not put the structure, know what that structure's at, so.
2 million what?
2,578,124.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, Sherry, are you ready to call it?
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you.
We'll see you next year.
Probably, I'll send in more information.
I would appreciate that.
All right, we've got a hearing scheduled for 1:20. We have an RSVP for that. By phone, okay.
Madam Chair, do we have our
Hello?
consolidated board?
All right, we've got him on the phone. Who's on the phone with us?
This is Dave Hallwell.
All right, Dave, the assessor is going to give her presentation and then you'll have an opportunity to testify.
Our next appeal is parcel number 283.10.05.007D. It's located at 5513 South Seville Place in Sioux Falls. It's owned by Merle David Holme. It's a two-story townhouse built in 2017. Has 1,680 square feet. The assessment went out at $259,199. On page 3, I presented a map of sales that took place in or around the subject property. The lowest sell price was just to the south and west of the subject property, sold for $220,000 back in 2021. That was a property that had 1,400 square feet. The subject property has 1,680 square feet. Our next page is the subject property with the 3 comparables, all built in or around the same time frame as the subject property and of the same size as the subject property. The sales range is between $282,600 and $302,000. Currently, the assessment on the subject property is $154 a square foot. The cost range is between $150 and $163 a square foot. The market is indicated in a market range between $172 and $181 per square foot. This was heard at local board. Local board made no change. I believe these are great comps. They're all within the same unit or neighborhood as the subject property. With that, the assessors are recommending no change as the property assessment falls within the cost and below the market value, leaving the value at $259,199.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions for staff? If not, sir, go ahead and state your full name and address, and then go ahead with your testimony.
Well, David Hallmo. I go by Dave, my middle name. Basically, I've been a licensed real estate broker for almost 50 years, and also as a licensed real estate appraiser for 20 years, and then been involved in thousands of transactions and CMAs over that time frame. We're looking at I have a number one, which would be the assessment card. I don't know if you bring them up or what the story would be there. Hello?
This is your opportunity to testify,
Hello?
sir.
Can you hear us?
Yeah,
We can hear you.
I'm trying. Can you hear me?
We can
Yes.
hear you just fine.
Yep.
All right. So number one, the materials that I sent down. Is that available? Well, at any rate, the number one is just the assessment card, and it shows what I'm in dispute of is the $259,199. Also on that card, it shows the total area, living area, 1680, as was already spoken to. I was just curious if I'm allowed to ask questions.
No, this isn't really a question and answer session.
All right.
This is
That's
just.
fine, that's fine, we'll move on. Then I basically have 1A, which shows the cost section of the appraisal that I had done in June of 2021. And that shows basically, I just picked the page that shows the cost approach, which wasn't used. It was done by a registered appraiser, and he decided to use the comparables instead. And on that also, it shows 1,666 as far as the dwelling size. Those are taken from the builder. The builder is also a real estate agent, so he puts those numbers out. So the 1,688, I feel, is more correct. Moving to number two, I have a copy that was sent, a copy of the comparable properties report on Seville. And it shows addresses on Lubecker, Seville, and Bounty. I don't know if that's the one that I just heard about, but that's the one I have been received from the county. And on that comp number one, it shows that it was built in 2020, comp 2, 2018, 2018 for comp 3. It shows this date of sale for number one as 6 of 2021. And in my opinion, that would be too old to use. And also, I didn't want to use that as a comp because the fact that it was built by Signature, which is a different builder, and different builders have different costs depending upon the style and what they put into the properties. And basically, it's just too old. And for comp number two, at 5417 Southville, I also used that as being too, didn't want to use that because it was too old. It was from 620. So we move on to comp number three, which is 5715 South Bonte Place. And I've used that one when I made my CMA because that had a date of sale of 2 of 22. If we move on to page 3, that shows a summary and evaluation from the workbook that I prepared using the multiple listing RPR. That's a resource property, realtor resource property. And that summary shows the value after search and putting in the comps of $240,000 with a range of $230,000 to $265,000. The details page would be the next page. It shows the properties from side to side, starting at the top. And if we adjusted the Bounty property, it adjusts out at $238,000, and the other comps adjust out accordingly as far as a lot lower than the 259. The other thing to point out on the comps is I did want to make sure that people are aware that this system allows people to rate things. And I picked the 5715 not just because the county used it and it was better than the other two that I saw. It was also like a sister community and it was developed by the same builder. So in my search for comps, I used the same builder and used his different areas that he developed properties in this neighborhood, all within probably a mile to 2 miles of my property. The valuation report is just a quick, that shows that the assessment of $259,199 is a 25.56% increase over the 2021 assessment, which I about fell over my chair when I saw that one. But also from the RPR, in the search of that neighborhood, or this neighborhood, the 57108 designation, if you look at sheet number 5, it shows the average sales price of year to date for the 2022's time frame of 15.8%. That RPR is very good in the fact that it also takes into account not just personal sales, but it takes in multiple listing sales, and it also takes in properties that are currently on the market. If I use those numbers of 15.8% and use the county's value of 206,428, increase that by 15.8% from the previous page, it shows a value of 32,216. Adding them together, I get 239,044, which is well within the 238 that I previously talked about, or the 240 that was in the summary. Also on page 7, which is the next page, that is from Farmers Insurance. That's my insurance company. They show for 2022 that they insured the property for $235,000, not $260,000. Also, in searching for comps, I ran across the sale of a property that had sold within the previous 13 months, in a 13-month time frame, 13 and a half months actually. It's at 2562 East Meadowside Place, which is another same builder neighborhood. That property showed that it sold in 21 for $229,900, and it's sold again in 2022 on 10/5 for $269,900. The delta of $40,000 is a 17.39% difference, not 26.58%.
Thank you, sir. We're
I
kind of
also
on
attached
we're on a tight time schedule.
time frame. Okay, that I can complete with number 9 just shows one of the comps that I used, and I point this out because several of the comps that I used were new, that at the same time frame, they were selling for $259. One was selling for $259. That's the one on Dubuque. And then Elke was sold for $264. Elke was the same exact size, same exact property. The other one was a little bit smaller, but it was built in 2022. So how could my property be worth the same amount as a brand new property in that time frame?
Thank you for your testimony,
The
sir.
goal of the office.
I'm going to close testimony. I'm going to close testimony right now so we can keep on track. Does commission have any questions? If no questions, I'd consider a motion.
Madam Chair, I believe the land at 18,386, changing the structure to 221,614 for a total of $240,000.
Thank you. I've got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Sherry, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes.
Thank you for participating.
Thank you, sir.
Are we done?
Yep.
Yep.
I had more.
No, that's all right.
All right, we're going to move on to our 1:30 hearing if they're available.
Are you,
All right, go ahead, Carla.
Our next parcel is parcel 240.11.07.008. It is a parcel located in T, Lot 8.
Are you Heritage Development? Nope, TCB. Okay, so you're the last one. So do we have anybody appearing for Heritage Development?
Phone.
All right, are they on the line?
I'm still on the line. I can't get off.
Just hang up.
Try.
Okay.
Yep, we can't get somebody else on unless you hang up.
I'm trying to hang this phone up and it won't give me the hang up sign.
Just push your button and mute or turn your phone off and it'll disconnect. There you go.
Hi. Do we have somebody on the line?
Hello.
Hi.
Yep, this is Emily with Heritage Development. Hi.
All right. The assessor is going to go ahead and give her presentation, and then you'll have an opportunity to testify.
Our next appeal is parcel 241.11.07.008. It's located in T, South Dakota. It is Lot 8, Block 7, 9 Mile Lake Edition. It consists of 3.873 acres. Our original assessment went out at $179,867. The appellant appealed that valuation to local board. Local board zeroed out the value. So I went in as an assessor and I recommended that I appealed the local board's decision. After talking with the appellant, this property is future use going to be a park for the city of T. But as it stands right now, it's still in Heritage's Development's name. Therefore, I felt an assessed value of 0 was not equitable or fair. So after visiting with the appellant, I gave an excess rating or an excess valuation of the property. So my recommendation is to lower the value to $25,296. I spoke with the appellant. They were in agreement with that recommendation. And so we'll stand by for any any questions.
Just get her on the phone and.
Is that, ma'am?
Yep.
Can you just go ahead and state your name and address? And if that information is correct, that you're accepting that value, that's really all that we need to know.
Yep, this is Emily Nightingale of Heritage Development. Our address is 4801 North Velocity Avenue, and we agree with that lowered assessment.
I would so move then.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Sherry,
For
will
the
you call
record,
the roll?
that value is 25,296.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, which is item 25.
Our next appeal is parcels 098.49.57.D100. It's owned by TCB number 2 LLC. It is located at Songstad's Tract 1 in McVeigh's Tract 1 in Tract B of the east half, excluding Lot H1. It's in Section 17, Township 98, Range 48. It consists of 0.88 acres. The assessment went out at $57,200. The appellant appealed that valuation to local board. Local board actually are an assessor recommendation went to the local board to lower the value to $36,960. And that recommendation to local board did not get changed. The reason why the recommended lower value is we actually tagged it as Lynn or Grand Township pricing, but it should have been Canton Township pricing, so that lowered the value. A local board did not make that change, so the assessor appealed the local board's decision, and my recommendation is to lower the value to $36,960.
All right, thank you for that. And the appellant, the other appellant is here?
Hi, I'm Patty Knorr. I'm representing TCB. My
Okay.
address is 600 East Meadowlark Trail, Sioux Falls. That's Lincoln County.
Are you agreeable to the 36,960?
Well, I would like to talk just a little bit about, I was here in, so this property is less than an acre. We own the entire property surrounding it too, and that was in the documents that were uploaded as the appellant's documents. I was here in 2021 also, and it's basically those same documents from that appeal at that time. So we own this little piece right here, which is 0.88 acres, and we also own the surrounding 37 acres. This little piece gets unfairly assessed at a higher rate because it is a small piece. And the rest of the acreage gets assessed at a different rate. And so this tiny little piece right here gets assessed at almost the same value as the rest of the 37 acres surrounding it. So I feel it's just a unfair assessment for the surrounding land around it and the surrounding land use. This little piece does not have any particular use or different use than the other land that we own that surround it. So when I came back in 2021 to appeal it, at that time it was being raised from 9,000 to I think 30-some thousand, and this board decided to kind of split the baby, and they set the assessment at 19,000. And so I'm hoping that we can just get back to what that decision was, and go from there.
Ma'am, can you tell me, is that classified as a buildable lot?
I believe it is, yes, because there is it used to be a fireworks stand there. And we didn't always own it, we owned the property around it, and when that came for sale, we wanted to buy that to control that property, and that's kind of why that's like that.
The surrounding property is agricultural land. Yep.
But it's still classified
No.
as
It does not qualify.
recreational, wouldn't it be?
It's a buildable lot.
It's a buildable lot. Did you have documents as what you paid for it or how long ago that was?
It was a number of years ago, I'd say like around 2000 or so, that we bought that, and it was just 5,000 at the time, and it was just, the fireworks people knew we owned the surrounding land, and they just offered it to us off-market.
Off-market?
Yeah.
Madam Chair, are you ready for a motion?
I am.
I'm gonna go with the new recommendation of 36,960 for assessment on this property, the new recommended value from the Board of Equalization.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, Sherry, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes.
All right.
Motion carries.
you.
Thank you for attending. Need a motion to adjourn as county board of, opportunity for public comment. Anybody? No? Okay. Adjourn as, county board. Motion, please.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Sherry, call the roll.
Who's claiming what?
What's that?
Who's claiming the first?
Mike.
I got the second.
You got the second.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
You guys are worse. Okay,
No.
Commissioner
All right.
Poppins?